I wanna be the very best. And if you say Mozambique one more time, gotta catch 'em all. What is up, my fellow Ghost Type Nation? It's your boy Hunt2Hunter. Today, I had an idea. Yeah, I know. Brace yourselves. See, I was scrolling through the good old of TikTok the other day, and I found a video of a bunch of Disney princesses and what would happen if they had a team of Pokemon. Now, recently, I've been making some Apex videos recently on my TikTok. Please follow. That'd be great. And then that got me thinking, what if the characters of Apex also were Pokemon trainers? So that's what we're going to discuss here. So, side note, I gave each one of these characters a starter, and I did not give them a legendary. Gave them a full team of 6, as well as the fully evolved form of all these Pokemon. So without further ado, let's get to it. Also, side note, subscribe, like, comment, do it. Doesn't hurt. Watch, I'll do it. There, I did it. Did you? You better. Moving on. So, I'm also not looking for a perfect team, but what really defines them as a character, their look, appearance, abilities, their personality, all that. So, that's what I kind of based it off of. Not the perfect team. We're not looking for a champion here roaming through a region. They're legends, not champions. So, yeah. First off, we're going to start with Bloodhound, or Bluthinder. For his team, I have chosen the following: Inteleon, Lucario, Bisharp, Ariados, Mimikyu, and Corviknight. Now, his starter, Inteleon, well, that's obvious. Sniper, Bloodhound gets depicted as a sniper very easily. And it's kind of the only starter currently with essentially a gun, so I figured that worked best with Bloodhound. Now, as for Bisharp, I figured, he's kind of this dark, mysterious-looking warrior, with a blade. So, Bisharp fits pretty well with him. And, with the mysterious factor, we put in Mimikyu. And for Lucario, his ability is to track and find hidden people near him. Lucario can do the same with his aura. And for Corviknight, well, he carries a bird, a raven, if you will. So, there's that. And as for Ariados, well, I picture him, hunting in a jungle. So, that made my brain thought process go to either a big cat, snake, and, well, also Ariados. So I essentially decided to give him Big Spider, hence Ariados. And I felt this one made more sense than Galvantula. Moving on, Mirage. This one was a little more harder. For his starter, I ended up picking Feraligatr, because, he's always so happy-go-lucky, ready to get into the fight, as nervous as he can be at times, much like Totodile. So with that reason, I chose Feraligatr. Now, as far as his team goes, I picked Kecleon and Vaporeon because of his ability to camouflage or have, a second him in the area, and both Pokemon can learn Double Team. And as for Vaporeon, Vaporeon can turn its entire body to mist, so invisible, essentially, and, Mirage can do the same thing when healing you. Okay, I imagine Kecleon can do a similar thing, or at least in the anime. So there's that reason why to do that. He's also a character who's very full of himself, so that's why I kind of gave him Serena as well as Surfetched. But as far as Fearow goes, other than it learns Double Team, and, well, I'm very tired of hearing you got bamboozled, and I also personally find Fearow a little annoying. There's not really too much for Fearow. Again, Mirage was a very difficult one to figure out, but this is the team I came up with him. So, for the next one is Gibraltar. Side note, I wanted to give him a Hariyama, I just forgot, and I edited his, pick too quickly, and it's too late, but if he had a Hariyama, I would not be surprised. Now, For his starter, I chose Blastoise because, you know, he's a big, thick guy, he's a big tank-looking fella, and, well, so is Blastoise, hence the tank part. Now, as for his team, I also chose Rhyperior, Snorlax, Ludicolo, Kommo-o, and Alolan Marowak. Now, Rhyperior and Snorlax are obviously because he's, you know, more defense, you know, they're more of the tank guys. But for Ludicolo through Alolan Marowak, because he's a very, you know, Polynesian person and he does the war dance while he's fighting, which is a common thing for where he's from. I chose Ludicolo, which he dances when he fights. Kommo-o, he also does a war dance when he fights, hence the fighting dragon type. And Alolan Marowak, fire dancer. So I figured that would work. So moving on, we got Caustic. This one was easy. For Caustic starter, no brainer, was giving him Venusaur. It's the poison type. I didn't want to give him full-on poison types, but I gave him quite a good, you know, roster. For his team, I chose Weezing, Toxapex, Crocodile, Umbreon, and Galarian Stunfisk. Weezing and Toxapex are no-brainers, you know, the poison type, and also the fact that Toxapex is a bunker, which also, you know, for defense purposes, work really well with for Caustic.
What? What the fuck?
For Crocodile, he has very good vision when he's crawling underground, from what his Pokedex has said. So I figured, you know, because of his passive ability of seeing through his, you know, toxic gas, I figured that would work well, along with the fact that Crocodile is a dark type. Now, along with the dark type, I also chose Umbreon because of the Nightlight thing, as well as, you know, seeing through, as well as its Gen 2 Dex entry stating that it can sweat poison, which I thought was very interesting. And as far as Galarian Stunfisk goes, it's a bear trap, it's a trap, you know, he's the trapper character, so I figured that, you know, it works. Also, steel resists poison, so there you go. Next we have Pathfinder. This one was a little more difficult, but I ended up deciding for a starter to be Blaziken, not just because of the fact that, you know, they both have long legs, but the fact that, you know, Blaziken, while being a bird, really not being a flying type, so not obviously a bird. Also, I'd find it very adorable if, you know, Pathfinder's holding a Torchic in his hand is like, you ready to go take on the region, my friend? Torchic. So, with that in mind, being the fighting type, Pathfinder out there fighting, being a good fighter, thought it would work. Also, I thought it'd be very ironic for him to have a bird, not bird Pokemon. Other than that, I made sure not to give him bird Pokemon. So his team, I decided Metagross, Magnezone, Ferrothorn, Ambipom, and Shedinja. Now, the Metagross and Magnezone is very obvious. I gave the robot some robotic Pokemon. I figured that'd be self-explanatory. Ferrothorn and Ambipom, they have vines and long tails for them to reach and help climb things. Pathfinder has a zip line. I thought that was also self-explanatory. But Shedinja was a little, you know, tricky. It was tricky finding him a 6th Pokemon. But, you know, Shedinja being a hollow husk of a cicada, you know, Pathfinder being a hollow husk of a robot with, like, a soul inside, I figured they could have some type of similarity. And, you know, it's very hard to hit a Shedinja, being the ghost type. Pathfinder has a small hitbox. I figured that this would work. So next we have Watson. Surprisingly, there's no electric starter Pokemon. And I'm not talking Pikachu. I'm not giving any of these guys, because if I did, I'd have to give him a Raichu. Although, I did almost give Watson an Ampharos. Again, with editing, it was too late, so I'm sorry. However, I did find out that there is a ground-type starter. Torterra, grounding electricity. It would be immune to the electric currents. You know, it's a ground type. It'd be really easy. Also, grass resists electricity, so it's a double resistance. So there you go. So Torterra was the starter I chose for Watson. And for her team, I chose Quagsire, Lantern, Electros, Togedemaru, and Probopass. Quagsire is the very similar reason for Torterra. Also, it's derpy and cute. much like Watson. Electric Pokemon had to add Lantern and Electros. She looks like she's very suited for fixing electricity underground or in like underwater areas ish. So hence Lantern. I also gave her Togedemaru because, you know, when you're trying to fix electrical stuff, you usually have metal or machine-like objects. Togedemaru is also half steel type. I figured that would work. Now, as for Probobass, though, one of her finishers is that she's able to lift you off the ground using magnetism. Probobass uses magnets all the time. I figured this was a solid comparison. Next, we have Lifeline. This was easy. For Lifeline starter, I chose Primarina because of its fairy-esque, you know, always wanting to help out healing powers that it has. Other than that, I gave it basically all the healing Pokemon I could think of, this including Gardevoir, Audino, Blissey, Comfey, and Oranguru. Now, Audino, Blissey, and Comfey are all Pokemon that Nurse Joy has used to heal Pokemon. Lifeline's the healer of the group. I figured this was easy. Oranguru usually heals Pokemon in the jungle using herbs and spices that it can find, acting mostly like a person with its psychic nature. And Gardevoir, while the healing psychic energy is there, she's also very loyal, much like a Lifeline main. They stick by you no matter what. So yeah, moving on. Revenant. This was also very easy. For its starter, I chose Incineroar because of its fiery, dark nature and its, you know, mean, you know, expression it kind of gives off. Now, I gave it Scizor because it basically looks like Revenant. Like, you can't tell me otherwise. Also, it's fast. It's got the big, you know, claws. It's Revenant as a bug type. You can't tell me otherwise. I also gave it Aegislash, Houndoom, Weavile, and Toxicroak. Aegislash being the steel type, and I wanted it to give it a very creepy, you know, dark, ghost-like steel type, and Aegislash came to mind. Revenant's a very dark, you know, ghastly, you know, creepy, you know, character, so I figured this would also work. Now, as for the other Pokemon, being Houndoom and Weavile, I figured I'd give them a dark type of one of fire and ice. You know, Houndoom is a very darkish, you know, Pokemon. Weavile, you know, also dark, but it's very fast. You know, Revenant's very fast when climbing walls. And finally, Toxicroak. It's not dark type, but it's mean, and it's aggressive, likes to fight, and, you know, stabby thumbs. Revenant like to stabby stab. So, moving on, Rampart. Rampart was also pretty difficult to come up with for a whole team, but I think I came up with one that definitely justifies her. For her starter, I chose Charizard because it definitely gives off the vibe that she has of aggressive, but not in a bad way, ready to, like, get in the fight, like, eccentric energy that she gives off, like, ready to go out there and fight someone, much like a Charizard. Its Pokedex entry does state that it does enjoy going out to go fight people, even Pokemon stronger than it. So, you know, I figure that definitely gives off a Rampart vibe. As for its team, I chose Conkeldurr, Leavanny, Luxray, Toxtricity, and Drifblim. Conkeldurr and Leavanny are very good at fixing, repairing, and building things. Leavanny especially likes to repair clothes for nature Pokemon, especially grass types. It's definitely seen as the caretaker of the group. Rampart definitely takes care of its team. And Conkeldurr, well, it's a construction Pokemon. Rampart works with machines and, you know, a little bit of constructing things, so I figured that works great. She definitely works well with machines, and machines run off electricity, hence why I gave her a Luxray and a Toxtricity. And Luxray is mostly for the fact that, like I said, the energetic, ready to go out and fight. Luxray definitely feels that kind of vibe for me. And Drifblim, considering she owns a business or owned, I figured she has some kind of delivery service of some kind, so I figured Drifblim was a good way to, you know, deliver that. So that one was a little creativity on my part. Next we have Loba. Loba was pretty easy to figure out. For Loba's starter, I chose Superior because, you know, she gives off this, like, aristocrat, like, vibe of I am high mightier than you, and I know it. So I definitely chose Superior for her. As well as being a thief, I chose Liepard, and Thievul. Both of them. Yes, I know. But given their dark, thieving nature, I figured that both of them would work well, especially like if they pulled off a heist and both were on our team running next to her. I figured that'd be kind of cool. The rest of her team, I gave her Salazzle, Grimmsnarl, and Gliscopod. Salazzle is also for her physique, and she has like a type of physique of I'm better than you and I'm gonna show it right here, right now. And I figured that definitely works with her like feminine type of vibe. For Grimmsnarl, it was more of the I can show that I can be tough and very useful in the fight. So, Grimmsnarl, definitely for a physical fairy type, I figured that would work very well. Now, for Gliscopod, on the surface, you don't really see a comparison with Loba, really. But thieves in a fight usually don't stick around. In fact, sometimes they try to make a grand escape or run away. Gliscopod's main ability is Emergency Exit. Loba will try to cause a emergency exit in order to leave while having a very strong Pokemon on our team. So I figured that works all around. Next up, we got Horizon. Again, Horizon was very easy. Her starter, I gave her Delphox, and, Psychic, Space, they very connect very easy in the Pokemon universe. Vikavolt, I gave her because, well, in the Olympus map, the Tridents, they look very much like Vikavolt, so I figured that'd be a cool little comparison. Other than that, I gave Horizon all the space Pokemon. So Clefable, Starmie, Behemoth, and Minior, they're self-explanatory. They're space Pokemon, she's an astronaut, moving on. Next, we have my boy Octane. Now, for his starter, I chose Greninja. It being a very fast starter and, throwing shurikens, Octane being a very speedy boy, and throwing arc stars, I figured that they'd work very well together. Other than that, I kind of gave it a lot of speedy Pokemon. So Octane's group is Rapidash, Boltund, Beedrill, Noivern, and Grapploct. Please hold. So for Rapidash, Boltund, and Noivern, they're very fast Pokemon. Octane's a speedy person. That's self-explanatory. Same with Beedrill. But if you notice, Octane uses a special drug in order to help him, but it can cause him a little harm. It's a poison, and Beedrill's really the only poison speedy Pokemon I could find, really. So that works. Now, Grapploct isn't really fast, but it was either him or Hawlucha because I figured, the macho luchador type of vibe that Octane gives off, it was one of these two, and well, I didn't want to do an Ash Ketchum and give him a Noivern and a Hawlucha. That would have been bad. Also the Greninja, so sprinkle that in. But, Grapploct is a very defensive, attacking, hold you together Pokemon. I figured that it would really fit. Also, have you seen that thing move in the water? Not fast my ass. So, next, we got Bangalore. I chose the most army type of Pokemon I could think of. Their starter is Typhlosion. I figured, it could cause big explosions, definitely be a frontline defense while a good attack, and, it fits Bangalore's vibe in my opinion. Other than that, her team is Fortress, Stuntlound, Gallade, Dreadnought, and Braviary. Fortress, it learns self-destruct or explosion. It's a grenade. I figured it worked. Stuntlound, it's a very loyal dog Pokemon, rough and tough, much like an army general. I figured that would definitely work well with Bangalore's whole vibe. Gallade, it's got good combat fighting type, it works as a standalone soldier. Figured that would work. Dreadnought, it's a dreadnought on the sea. There's the on the water combat. Same works for Braviary, just in the air. Also, it's the most America Pokemon I could ever think of. So, next up is Wraith. Damn it. So, for her starter, I chose Decidueye because, Wraith, it's a ghost. Decidueye, very ghost-like. It works very well. And you can't really escape from them very easily. So, there's also that. Her team I constructed with Alakazam, Mismagius, depending on how you pronounce it, Cursula, Xatu, and Hydreigon. Alakazam being the future sight that it can wield, the voices in her head constantly telling her to watch out, I figured that works. Same thing with Xatu. It is said in the Pokedex entry that it can see through the past and future through both eyes. You know, the voices in her head telling her to, you know, watch out or predicting this, I figured that would work. And as for Mismagius and Cursula, the whole wraith ghost like vibe, I figured I had to give her some ghost Pokemon, especially some, you know, mystical types. So, you know, Cursula and Mismagius or Magius, again, depending on how you pronounce it, definitely give off that vibe. Now, Hydreigon definitely kind of gave her the offensive, like, dark Pokemon. You know, she gives off this type of vibe where she can be kind of dark and, you know, intimidating, hence, you know, Hydreigon. So that's kind of why I gave her that. Now for Crypto. Not gonna lie, Crypto starter was kind of the hardest one I could think of. There's not really a, you know, steel type starter other than Empoleon, and other than that, I couldn't really see him with an Empoleon. And there's no electric starters, so that was really difficult. So I ended up with this logic. The starter I gave Crypto was Cinderace, mainly because not only can they be pretty fast, but Raboot essentially looks like Crypto, so yes, I know that's the reason, but honestly, I can't see him with a fucking penguin, dude. Now, for its team, I chose Rotom, Porygon-Z, Electivire, Pangoro, and Scrafty. Rotom and Porygon-Z being very self-explanatory, you know, it carries a little cam droid zimming around all around it. Essentially, Rotom is what I'm picturing. And Porygon-Z, well, it's digital code, Crypto's a hacker, you see where I'm going. Electivire, it's good with electricity, hacking, computers, using electricity. Again, you see where this is going. Now, Pangoro usually sticks out for its friends, and even if it has to be dark and brooding and badass. You know, Crypto, he's only a badass because he's trying to save, you know, his kidnapped friend, hence, you know, the origin story that Crypto has. And as for Scrafty, well, it's always on the run in back alleys, always trying to hide, but also trying to be tough and, you know, gang up on its opponents, you know, groups of 3, always hiding back alleyways, Crypto all of his life. I figured Scrafty works pretty well with, you know, Crypto. And finally, we have Fuse. Now, rather than just giving him a fire type, which can cause booms and explosions, I went a step further. His starter, I gave him Sceptile. Why? Because when Sceptile Mega Evolves, its tail is one big missile, one big grenade that fires many explosions, much like his special ability, or his ultimate. Now for his team, I chose Electrode, Alolan Golem, Dragapult, Turtonator, and Octillery. Electrode's self-explanatory. Again, it's a grenade, it go boom, that's literally Fuse's whole stick. Same thing kind of goes for Turtonator. It's a landmine, it go boom, Fuse like boom, there you go. Now, for Alolan Golem, it said that it likes to shoot out Alolan Geodudes from its Canapult, much like, you know, his robotic arm. I figured that fit. The Geodudes with the grenades, you see the comparison. Dragapult is also a very similar example. You know, it likes to shoot its kids out of its ears, and they enjoy that because, okay, so, you know, the kids go boom, the grenades go boom. You see where I'm going with this. Now, Octillery, this is what I might have to explain a little bit. Octillery's whole move pool set, it usually learns, you know, Ice Beam, Aurora Beam, Flamethrower. It learns a lot of, you know, beams, blasts, all that. Now, this kind of reminded me of the variety of grenades that anyone can throw, really, in the game of Apex Legends, but how far, like a beam or a blast, much like a grenade, that Fuse can launch farther, like a blast or a beam. So I figured Octillery works very well. And there you have it. No journals were harmed in the making of this video. Did you like it? Did you think that other Pokemon could be used for these characters? Let me know in the comments below. We could have a very nice discussion about it. This was really fun. Please don't ask me to do Overwatch.
You're doing Overwatch.
There's too many characters! Ah! Watch, fucking Hammond has all the Pikachu clones. And a Metagross because of the turret. Oh god, what have I gotten myself into? Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. It doesn't hurt. Do it. It'd be great if you did it. Please, please, pretty please. Once again, Apex Legends as Pokemon trainers. That's all of them. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I will see you Ghost type nations later. Till next time, stay ghastly. Bye.
Gotta catch 'em all.